Episode 95. Because I Care. Introducing Slicko on the BTS Creative Academy podcast, Uncut. With me, your host, Martin Colton. Welcome, Slicko.
Pleasure, Martin.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me and Luana here today.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
It's wonderful to have you here. So I've got a little tradition that these podcasts start with. Yeah. I think you know, because I think you were just listening to the last podcast. So after 3, we do a little clap and we're in the zone. So 1, 2, 3. Nice and sweet, yeah. We're in sync. Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm stealing that.
It's such a simple little thing, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, clap, and we're there.
Yeah,
we go.
A shift.
Yeah, the shift has happened. The change has happened.
Let's get in.
We're here. We're in the zone. So how are things with you at the moment? How are things going?
Pretty great, actually. I mean, this past week has been. I just been telling you, I've been literally up and down the country doing studio sessions with a few associates of mine. I've recently signed to like an independent record label, so I've been working with those guys a lot, and Wonderful. They're very active. So the head of that label, I've been close with him, and we've been moving up and down, going to this place, recording, or we're gonna sort this out for events or all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this just already starting at quite a good pace, which I'm really happy about.
Wonderful. That feels quite nice, doesn't it, when things are working out?
Yeah, it feels excellent. And I think especially coming from a place where, I don't know, so I'm originally from Doncaster, right? So I don't know if you know, but there's not a lot of rappers from Doncaster.
Where's that in the Midlands of the UK?
I don't even know. Most people don't even know.
where the hell is that? I know the name.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in the UK?
So South Yorkshire.
Okay.
So you're thinking, Sheffield, right? Everyone knows Sheffield.
No, Yorkshire,
yeah. Everyone knows that. So just 25 minutes from Sheffield, there's the city of, it's now a city, graduated to city status. It's now the city of Doncaster.
Right.
And that's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So coming from there, and I'm 24 now. I got into music when I was like 16, just finishing GCSEs and everything. So coming from there, and being where I'm now, seeing the sort of speed and everything, and all the progress that's happening, it feels like it's come from like an uncertainty to like, okay, we can do something here, you know.
Yes, yeah. Was it a quieter way of life where you went from in Doncaster to coming down south to coming down to London?
In some ways, yes and no, actually. Like, okay,
tell me about that.
Because Doncaster is a weird setup. Okay, so Doncaster is like a little big city, and the fact that like, I think it was one of my friends, Kyle, told me like, in terms of population and overall area mass, Doncaster is actually bigger than like a lot of the larger cities. You know what I mean? So,
yes, yeah.
But that because it's so spread out and stuff, everyone can kind of know each other type vibe. So at the same time, it's busy, but also it's a very quiet place. You know what I mean? It's just like everyone knows each other, small world type area. But
it's almost got like a village vibe to it.
Yeah, it's got that old school village vibe to it, old school English village.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Everyone's connected in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, literally, I grew up in a village, like a little old village called Edlington, and it used to be like a mining village back in the day, and then like now it's just like the ghetto.
It's changed into the ghetto. How did that happen?
I don't know. Some people, when I was growing up and I was in primary school, I heard a lot of talk about Margaret Thatcher and the closing the mines or something like that. So I think some eco-politic situations
transformed the area.
Yeah, but so originally my family immigrated to England in 2002. Okay. I was born in Zimbabwe, so we moved. So I was about 2 years old when I came here, and we lived in East London. So no memories
from there, from Zimbabwe.
It must be vague. Like I have like one really core memory of like me, my mom, and my older sister like just hanging out, and I'm like, this is so messed up. So like I do something. I think I pinched my older sister,
right?
And then she's like really like crying to my mom, and my mom's like, oh, just pinch him back like like lightly, whatever. I don't know. So that's the core memory. That's that's
core foundations. Yeah, pinching your sister.
So that already tells you like where we started off with like.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah.
So your family brought you over to here.
Yeah, we came here in 2002. Grew up till about I was 8 years old in East London. and then moved to Doncaster when I was around 8 years old, and then from there, that's where I lived for most years.
And what brought you to down south to London, and what brought you to move to?
Okay, so to be fair, like, by the time I was like into my second year of making music, I was in a very fortunate position that I was close friends with a rapper who was already in a label. So by the time it came around for me to be interested into doing music, he allowed me to join his group of friends. Him and his older cousin, they had an independent record label set up in Doncaster type stuff, and I started rapping with them. So by the time it came to my second, it was more like 2.5, 3 years into rapping with them, doing my thing, and we'd like been doing our own shows in Doncaster. Our SoundCloud was getting 1,000 streams, that type of stuff. My friend Tendakai, my childhood friend, who originally lived in Doncaster when I moved there around 8 years old, and then when I was around 9, 10, he moved to South Africa actually. So about 10 years in between, he came back to the country at that time,
right?
And I started hanging out with him a lot, and so that was 2018, and then 2019 he was telling me he's going to uni in London, and at that time we started making music together, and that time we had also started the idea for the record label Collective that Luana mentioned. He's my co-founder with that idea. So he actually encouraged me, oh bro, you should continue studies in London, come London, and we can also push your music and do extra stuff like that. And I'm glad I listened to him, because
and now you feel like the opportunities are opening up for you. And
Absolutely. Like, I was just, when you were sat here and Luana was talking about our origin meeting, I was thinking about the overall spectrum, and I was like, okay, actually in my second year of uni, I met my publisher. I signed my first publishing deal with Sunfish Publisher, and then in my third year, I met my manager, Luana, and then this year, I've now signed to an independent record label. So I'm seeing a very rapid progression here compared to as initially when I was in Doncaster. It was like, okay, now we're progressing, then it's a slowdown. Nobody's coming to studio, there's no hours, Then it's a little bit step forward. It was very, very slow, and that's initially inspired me to go out on my own.
So what is it that then pushed you forward and made that rapid progression start to happen? What's different now than what it was before?
Wow, I mean, there's so many factors. I think overall, I gotta give credit to myself in the sense of, like, overall as a artist, I'm more determined to get stuff done, and to, for example, if I have an album, I'm gonna make sure I'm finishing the album to the deadline I set myself, planning my release with my manager and my team. So yeah, that's another factor. My manager, my team, we've got to a point where I feel like we're very cohesive together, to the point where I can have an overall concept, and then I say, Luana, okay, so we've got the concept for this album. I want to do a music video for this song. And then Luana is able to listen to that song without me telling her what my ideas for that. And she was able to come out with ideas that mirror what I would have thought or what I said. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's really quite special to find someone that you can have a partnership with that creative. So you got, like you say, you're coming up with these ideas, you can put them out there, and then someone else can help mold that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I've realized what I've done actually is continuously surround myself with different people like that. So originally, when I came to uni, I could only mix, master, and write my own songs and that aspect of it. So I was self-recording, and then getting a beat from a third party. And then I meet one of my associates, Jason Rodriguez of Wasted Love. He's got his own little company there. Shout out, my guy.
Yeah, of course.
He's got his own little company there. When I meet him, he shows me, we have a few conversations, and he shows me that producing is fun, like making your own beats and stuff like that. So then, so I feel I've realized that throughout time, I've got my own weaknesses as well. I've filled in the spots with people who are better at that particular area than me, and then we work together.
Can help raise you up, bring you up to a new level.
Absolutely. And likewise, I'm also I'm sure Luana will tell you, I'm also a very giving person. Like, I also don't like to just ask people to do something. I want to exchange something here. Like, whatever you can do for me, I also want to do whatever I can for you type stuff as well.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot within the creative industries, and particularly the music industry, where people are helping each other up rather than rather than just taking all the time.
Yeah,
it's also about giving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit it right on. What's the phrase? Hit the nail right on the head. I think if you want to be a musician, you truly have to look at it about like, it is a giving and taking situation. Like, what can you do for others and what others can do for you in a positive way, and what can you build together? So it's a very much collaborative effort.
It is, isn't it? It's a team sport.
Yeah.
It's not something you can do on your own. If you do it on your own, I think you're going to get lost.
Difficult.
Like when you're up on stage, you're predominantly a solo artist.
Yeah.
When you're in your moment, performing, sharing your gift that you've got, sharing your talents, it's you. Yeah. But would you be there in that moment without everyone else around you, without your management team, and without your collective of people that are surrounding you?
Absolutely not. You know what I mean? I feel like even when it comes to before even getting on that stage, you know, the moments that lead up to being on that stage, you know, the teams there, you know, I don't even look at them as a team at this point because of the cohesion. I look at them as like family and like the type of like bonds we have. You know, we're all like-minded, and like, you know, I know for a fact with Luana and me, that situation is never about money. It's never about this. About, like I said, one collected, united vision of like, you know, pushing the boundary, showing people how to be successful in their own way, in the way they're comfortable being, not having to follow a trend or a fad or anything like that, just being how we are and working how we see fit, you know, type stuff.
Yeah. So how is it different than a group of people getting together and being just a group of people getting together and making some music, or making them a family? You called them family. That's quite big.
It is big because we've been through so much, and even the recent people that I've signed, I've agreed to sign the record label with, SK4, shout out them man as well, SK Baby, Uncle Denny, all them man. It comes to be that way because we've been through so much, and you see people's character. That's what's important to me. We can be through a lot together, but then your character isn't very good or isn't upstanding, and that's what differentiates you. You know what I mean? I think I come from a very fortunate place where I didn't have a perfect childhood or anything like that, but there's certain morals and certain values that my parents instilled into me that allows me to discern whether what someone's character is like, and whether that should be aligned with me, you know. And I've fortunately, you know, through my life, I found a lot of people who I can align with that way, like, you know, like the names I just mentioned, all those people I can definitely say like, yo, these people are standout artists, and you know, I can trust them with this and that.
Yeah, the trust has got a big thing to do with it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's people out there I've met. Don't get me wrong as well. There's a lot of people I've met that you can't trust like that, and you can't call them family like that, even though you've been through X, Y, Z together. Like, but that's just the case. People, complex, layered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's finding the right ones.
Yeah.
And at the moment, you feel like you found the right ones at the right time.
Absolutely. It almost feels like, I don't really believe in like fate or destiny or anything like that. Then I believe like we have a lot of choice in the things we do, but sometimes you look at I'm a very analytical person, so I look at stuff at like I take a step back and I'm like, okay, some of this is a bit too smooth of a transaction, you know what I mean? Like I said, met my publisher, then met my manager, then the record label. You know, it's been a very smooth transaction, even through the struggles and the hardships and all that stuff. The overall picture is, you know,
the things have come together.
Yeah,
things have worked out.
Magnetized, you know what I mean? Like just formed like a galaxy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I personally, I don't, like you say, I don't know whether it is destiny or whether it is once we start to put ourselves out there and once we start to connect with others, we start to work out which connections work and which ones don't, and we start to form new paths from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So
where did this kind of idea start for you for being a rapper? Where was it? Did you wake up one day and was like, I'm gonna be a rap artist? Was that always the plan?
At first, it seemed like that, but like I said, I'm a very analytical person, and what I analyze the most is myself. So
of course,
I realized that I think subconsciously. Actually, there's some new info I just found out as well. So this is also genetic, like this pathline as well.
Okay.
But so let me give a little origin story to like my creative background. So like I think since like primary school, since we moved to East London, I used to be involved in like choir and stuff like that. I used to like,
You've always like just singing in general, performing.
I've always been like a creative kid, like singing, drawing, playing with like plasticine and like making stuff out of that, like just expressing creativity in any way I can at the given time was my thing. So I was into choir. It wasn't like a major like, oh, I'm gonna be in choir to be a singer type, but it was just because I liked it. It was fun. And then when I came to Doncaster, I again in primary school I joined the choir, I joined the orchestra, that kind of stuff. But then in high school I didn't really do anything musical like that. But what I realized that I think being a musician was always at the back of my subconscious, because I remember I think I was around 10 years old and I had this friend called Louis, this little chubby kid. We used to hang out every now and again, and one time he came to my house after school. And it was like, no, I remember exactly what it was. So in the playground at school time, he was busy singing the song, and the melody got stuck in my head.
Right.
So when he came to my house after school, I was like, oh, bro, can you play that song for me that you're singing playground? It's stuck in my head. It's like, oh, yeah, it's hard. Check it out. So that song was Lil Wayne, Eminem, No Love. So he puts on, and like, I think it was just like a light bulb switch. It's like, it just activated. So for the next, I don't know how many weeks, months, but every day after school, I'm coming home, I'm listening to Eminem and Lil Wayne, all their songs, all the albums. And to me, that's
like the moment of where something changed for you.
Yeah.
Something was awoken within the brain.
There was an obsession almost, I think, like, just like lightning moment. And then like, another time, that was my only understanding of music. Like, I wasn't even listening to albums properly. I was just finding the individual songs and just listen to them. I didn't even know what like an album. I just listened to it, taking it all in. And then by the time high school is, I'm really into listening to music. I'm a hardcore music fan. I'm taking in some rock. I'm listening to like Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Evanescence, all the extra stuff. So
so you're taking in quite a variety of different types of musics. Musics. That's a word.
Music
genres.
You can say music genre. I think it's interchangeable. You can take my. I got a degree for music, so you.
Okay.
You can take my word for it.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What was I saying?
So yeah, where you had this moment, you had this like breakthrough moment of discovering who you was.
Yeah.
You really discovered who you are.
Yeah.
Through that.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize at that time.
What was you at that time? It was just pure enjoyment.
Yeah, it was pure. I didn't even realize I was discovering myself. I was just enjoying. But later on, at this point, that's when I realized, oh, this was me all along. So, yeah. So it gets to about high school. I'm trying to flirt a little bit with music now because I've been like listening to music to the point like now this is most of the time this is what I think about when I finish school and I'm home. I'm like, oh, can I freestyle a little bit? Can I write something a little bit? And especially because in English class, I've always been a great creative writer. I can write amazing stories. I can write like type of stuff that like when I used to come back to class, that teacher would hold it up, read in front of the class, and be like, "Oh, guys, this is an example of like a good story." So then I think around year 8, we started doing like poetry and reading into poetry and stuff like that, and I got really, really into that. That's what that was almost like a gateway to where I am now. It was like that. So we're writing poetry in class, and then I'm going home and writing poetry on my Tumblr and stuff like that, and just getting mashed. I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna be a poet. That's what that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm serious.
Why is that a problem? Why is it? Why?
The problem is okay. The problem is because I was a really smart kid. I'm still smart, I guess. It's just expressed in different ways. I was a really smart kid, like top of the class, top sets, everything like that. So meanwhile, I'm thinking I want to be a poet. I'm telling people when they ask me, oh, what are you gonna do after GCSEs? What's your plan? I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna do this, do some surgery, stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I'm gonna be a poet. You know, because I didn't want nobody on my face,
it sounded like you were quite a romantic when you were younger, like quite like the romanticizing the what a lovely idea to think I'm gonna be a poet. Like you're not gonna be a doctor or a lawyer. You're gonna be.
I was like, nah.
But what's wrong with that? Why should we discourage that? Why doesn't poetry add so much to life and to the world and to culture and to people? No.
It does, and you look.
Maybe we don't, because we're laughing about it. Maybe we don't value it enough.
I feel we're laughing about it just so these guys feel more
understand.
comfortable.
Yes.
I feel like you and me get it.
Yes,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I feel like you and me truly get it. Because, like, if you look at life, everything's poetry. You know what I mean? Like, every little detail. Like, I go on Instagram and this page with, like, a microscopic zoom on, like a leaf or something. And then you look at it, it's like all these intricate patterns and, like, beautiful design and stuff. It's like, life is breathing poetry. So why don't we? You're right. Why don't we?
Yeah.
Why don't we embrace it more? You know?
Yeah, and I've talked to quite a lot of people on here about poetry and how there's moments in your life where without poetry, without art, how would you get through it? How would you get? We recently went through COVID.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
What would we have done?
Wow.
Without having music at that time? What would we have done without having books, without having films? What would you do, you know, like in some of the worst times of your life when someone dies?
Wow.
What's the first thing we do to try and like find some meaning behind that? We read poetry or we listen to music, don't we?
Yeah. We take in other art that feels how we feel or relates to some type of way. Now, life would be too dull.
So what would a world look like if we discouraged? Imagine another kid like you out there that was being discouraged from being a poet, from pursuing that life.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Dystopia. That's pure dystopia, you know what I mean? Like if you deep it, like you said, it's like I said as well, everything is poetry, everything is art. So if we ourselves stop expressing that way, I feel like the humanity of us will become very depressed. But like you're having a conversation about AI with Luana. The difference between us and AI right now is that we can create creatively and express ourselves through art. If we take away that, we're just robots, you know. We'd just be a very blank society. It'd be terrible. Like, you know, everyone just works in like something logical. There'd be no TV. There'd be no movies, no books, no comics, no. Nah.
And then I think the link to like it's crazy, isn't it?
Nah,
it's great. Yeah, but you got. I think it's important to talk about that.
Yeah,
I think we need to discuss this. We need to like work this out because there is another side of society that will discourage it.
Yeah.
There is another side of society that says we need facts and figures and measures of what everyone's doing, and we need to just think of financially how do you move forward.
Yeah.
But then, what is the point of all this without it?
Pardon
So,
me.
take a moment. Steep, isn't it?
It is.
And then it adds so much value to what you're trying to offer to the world with your music.
Yeah.
It's not just about entertainment, having fun in that.
It's not. It's so much more. And even when I look about the positive effects of the people around me, of what's happening just for me, I can see that so much more. And I think it's a shame that we live in a world that values, like, I don't know if you're a spiritual person or anything like that.
Yeah, my I would say, where do I sit? I'm very open. I'm very open to ideas.
Okay.
I'm very open to the conversation and to discovering.
Okay, so I'm about to go to a bit of a spiritual area.
Let's go. So
I firmly believe that God, whatever form it truly exists in, is the ultimate creator, the ultimate creative. Do you know what I mean? And I think all religious teachings teach that we are a reflection of that creative being. So I think it is intrinsically part of human nature to express ourselves through creativity as a not even as a want, but as a necessity. You know what I mean? I think we need to create to be fully human. We need to create to fully be. Like, I ask my other artist friends and my girlfriend all the time, like, do you ever feel weird because my girlfriend's a singer as well, so do you ever feel weird when you haven't made a song in so long? Do you start to feel like a bit like dissonance? And they're like, yeah. I don't think they ever thought about it as deeply as that, but I swear to you, I promise, like, if I've gone like maybe like 5+ days and I've not done anything musical, I start to feel like weird. I'm like, I start like, I remember there's one period when I was working a full-time job, and it was like a 45-hour, 50-hour job, and so I was working day and night, and I hadn't made music like 2-3 months. I started to forget if I was even a good like performer, singing stuff, and I started to really seriously doubt myself. Like, it gets really like psychological with this thing. So I think
sticking on that spirituality thing, if it is a God-given gift,
Yeah, absolutely.
then isn't it your duty to do something with that?
It's even
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's even a duty to use
It's
it.
a duty to use it. And
Yep.
then when we don't use it,
Yep.
when we do suppress it because, we've got the bills to pay and we've got to do the normal job and, we do have there is also a life to live. Like, unfortunately, we can't just all live in a place of being creatives all the time because
it's not easy.
It's not easy, and there are some constraints to this world.
Yep.
There are some rules if you want to be part of it, and so we do have to work a normal job for a little while from time to time, or for a long period of time. Even I did a normal job for about 5 years, and in that 5 years, I felt destroyed. Because I wasn't being me. I wasn't doing the thing that I could do. I wasn't doing who deep within my soul I wanted to do. And I was just doing that to pay bills.
And that's the
is that a life? Pay bills?
Man, that's the worst feeling when you come home after like a stressful day and like, and I have to continue just so I can continue paying these bills. What I mean? Like, I totally feel that. It's not life. It's not life at all, and that's like, man.
So how do we go from that then, from being in a place where we're just paying bills to adding our creativity, our artistry within our life? How do we bring that into it? Where do we find space for it?
Well, it's interesting you say that because recently I've been reading a great book that advised to any creative who, no matter what section in, it's called Steal Like an Artist. I'm sure maybe you've heard of it.
No.
Definitely worth the read.
Still Like an Artist.
Still Like an Artist, you're definitely worth the read. And one of the sections that really struck to me, because I've been struggling with this as well, is because I told you the job I worked 40 plus hours a week was just only like 2 years ago, and I was working that for like 2 years. So that was recent history. And I've been struggling a lot with like, okay, how do I find the time? How do I do this? But that book really cleared that for me. It was like, the work will be done in the time that is allotted as long as you make space for that time. So even if you're in a position that I was in where you're working 40 hours a week, you, I know it's Monday to Friday, you start 9 a.m., finish 10 p.m. If you get that Saturday, you spend 2 hours, but you don't have to even do the whole Saturday. Spend 2 hours. I promise you, the work will get done. There's even this recent time, I was in a studio session with an affiliate from the record label SK Baby, and we those other situations, but basically we had to use up all our studio time, and by the time we sorted out the situations, there was only about like 30 minutes left. But in that 30 minutes, we managed to lay both the verses and the what's it called, and the hook for the song. It wasn't polished or anything, but like we got the demo, you know what I mean? And music is incremental. You can build on it. And most art is incremental. A drawing isn't done in a day. A painting isn't done in a day. A movie isn't done in a day. A podcast isn't done in a day. There's no creative element actually that is done in a day. Now I'm thinking about it right now with you. So also give yourself that patience as well.
No, it's I think like the span of life is long and short, and it's a complex. Like I go back to like, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and he describes you're a Doctor Who fan too. You never know where you're gonna meet him, do you? But like, he describes time as timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Like it's not just all at the same pace, and it's interesting when we make time for our creative pursuits. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. I promise.
Yeah, it happens when we decide we're going to do it, and we do it. It starts, and it may not be perfect. It may not be polished, but it starts, and it has opportunity to evolve and grow.
That's the most important part. That's the most important part. Like, just getting started, you can go from anywhere though.
Yeah.
I mean, the flow. There's times people ask me like, oh, how do you write a verse? How do you do this? And I'm like, oh, I just sit down, and then I'm vibing to the beat. I'm listening, and then it'll come. Ideas generate. Like, our brains are amazing in the fact that that it takes in all the information. So if you set your intention, okay, I'm gonna write this or I'm gonna do this. If you give it the right information, aka if you're going to write a song, an instrumental, it will start to think of what can be on this instrumental. And depending on your skill level, of course, the results are gonna vary, but you can start somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I didn't start out sounding like how I sound today. You know what I mean? You can go back to my old SoundCloud and see my first songs, and play this from my debut album just released 5 months ago, and you see a disparity.
Yeah, and I think it's important to keep the bad stuff, to keep the not necessarily bad, but to keep the early stuff, because the rough stuff, because then I think that's great inspiration for others, because we can often look in on people at a moment and go, wow. Look at what they're doing. Look at how polished and shiny they are, and how great they are. They weren't always like that. They weren't like that a year ago. They weren't like that even 6 months ago, necessarily. You know, with myself, someone recently said to me, I think you should take like the first couple of episodes of the podcast down, because they're a bit rough and they're a bit like,
it stings a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, what's going? And it's honest. Like there is some, there is some just me with a couple of mates sitting down having a chat, and like we don't know where we're going with it, and there's some burps and just you know what I mean. Like, but there's some sound issues and some lighting issues and things. But I think that's really important. That I'm not there yet with this. But as this progresses to 200 episodes, 300 episodes, the momentum is going to build and build, and the quality is just going to get better and better and better.
As it should, absolutely. And I think exactly what you said, I found as well in my creative journey. Each project, each single, each release, the quality increases, it builds.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for others to see as well. That I want to be able to show that it wasn't always great.
Yeah,
you know, I've got 2 young children, and often they say I can't do it. I can't do it. They're both quite creative, and they're like, I can't. And I'm like, don't say you can't. Just say you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you haven't got there yet.
Exactly. No, I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
So, what does the future look like for you then? Where are you going next?
Like immediate future, what kind of time scale?
The immediate future. Let's look at that first.
Immediate future. So this year I got a lot of music for you guys. So my Last Laugh mixtape that's coming out this summertime. So watch out for that one. And then I'm gonna treat you guys. I don't usually do this because things are going so nice, and I feel like a lot of love has been shown. I'm gonna do a second project at the end of the year, just to show a little appreciation back to the people, show appreciation for me. So yeah, it's gonna be an active year, plenty of shows, plenty of music videos as well. That's the type of energy we're producing a minute.
You're gonna keep working. You're gonna keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna keep that momentum going forward.
Doubling down on all fronts. I feel like last year we set the scene. We got our bearings a little bit. This year
laid the foundations. Yeah.
This year we repeat, improve, excel. You know what I mean? That's the type of timing.
So what about then? Let's move you forward 5-10 years from now. What does that look like? Where's the big dream?
The big dream. So part of that lies within high society, which I think Luana touched in a little bit. So high society is essentially my goal for a record label with my best friend Kai that I mentioned about. He's also he's a phenomenal guy. He is like, have you ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Of course, yeah.
He's like the Avatar: Last Airbender of creativity. And
right.
By that I mean, he's good at everything. He can do photography, graphics, music, acting. I swear he can dance as well. I seen him do. He can backflip. He can backflip on any song.
Okay. I think I need to meet this guy.
Like every time I think about it, sometimes I'll be texting him like, bro, like, do you actually deep it? Like,
are you even real?
Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be like 2 a.m. Yeah. I'm like cooking in the studio, and I just remember something he did. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, I went off for the tangent. What was that? Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, we're going to the future now.
Future. So yeah, he's my right hand, and around the time I was coming to London, 2019, and he told me this would be a good place for me to think. We started the initial foundations of our record label. I had a previous name before them, but right now, Iteration High Society. So my focus is to push this record label / collective as to be the forefront of a narrative-free situation for artists. So by narrative-free, I mean that. So say, I'll just use an example. Say you are a rapper, singer, whatever, and we were like, you vibe, you were like, we want to sign you. So instead of where you'd go to sign to Universal and you'd be completely under their vision and their plan and what they want to do and what they want to do for you, and you get maybe like a 10% say in what you want to do. We actually put the trust in you, say, okay, we believe in what you're about, and what we brought you in because we like what you do already, and we just want to boost that, enhance that, and make you the ultimate version of yourself, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do for myself, and I'm doing for myself, and I'm trying to do for my friends and associates and everyone. So
you understand this from an artist's point of view. So you're trying to change the industry from like within.
Absolutely. I don't think, even in my early days, signing to like a major record label is something I've never really sat right with me. And as I progressed and got more information about it, it's just like, okay, nobody's here looking out for artists at all. Like not one bit.
So you want to be that person?
That's gonna be me. That's gonna be me.
Why is that?
Because I care. Because I care, really and truly, and especially being in the UK where we have the most extreme version of the narrative isn't controlled by you, is controlled by the record label or the public. I feel here's needed more than anything, you know what I mean? Like, for example, in hip-hop, in the UK, the main two genres have been Afrobeats and drill for like a good 6-7 years. And only in the last like year or 2 years, I've seen people with like my sound and my style kind of come into forward and be more comfortable to express themselves, because in the global scene, there's more internationality and exchange. But like prior to that, it was like a strictly like, it's a very gate-kept scene, very gate-kept industry. And I feel like, I know for a fact there's other artists out there just like me who want to be who they want to be, but also want to get signed and also want to make money. You should be able to make money from your music, no matter what kind of music you make. You should be able to do your fashion brand, no matter what style it is. Because there's 8 billion people in the world, you know what I mean? There's
enough room for us.
Yeah. There's people who's going to align with you and want what you got and want to be part of that. So if you are confident in what you are, and you know who you are, and you want someone to support you and back you and push you and take you, I'm your person, I'm your guy. You know what I mean? And
that's wonderful. That's really nice. And it's nice to hear you say you care.
I do.
What a simple place to bring it, take it from.
And I truly do.
Like, it's a simple. When I say simple, it's important.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So last question, important one. Where do we find you? Where do we find Slicko?
You can find me at my Instagram, which is SL1. No, sorry, my bad. SL.CKO, and I have also a TikTok, which is SL1CKO, and then I have a Twitter, which is SL1CK0, and then I have a YouTube, which is Slicko. If you're trying to find me, you can find it by my most popular release, What You Mean.
Lovely. We'll go listen to it as well.
Thank you.
We'll go listen to What You Mean. We'll stick it on the end of this video. So if you've been listening and watching, it's on the end of this podcast. Stay with us.
That's a good outro song, you know. It's a proper banger, that one.
Nice. You don't mind me sharing that along with the podcast?
Of course, bro.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For asking. You know what I mean?
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. And if there is anyone watching or listening, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining on this conversation. And so that you don't miss out on any future conversations, what do you think they need to do?
Follow me on socials, follow BTS, subscribe, like, comment, you know what I mean? Share with your friends and family, all the good stuff.
Be part of the conversation.
You know what I mean? That's
great, wonderful. Thanks again. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great.
Slicko, are you serious?
Let's go. I'm outside the bitch, I'm inside the wrist. I can hit your beer, not a misogynist. She love massaging this, feel like Keanu Reeves. I'm way too tongue-in-cheek, don't know that what you mean. Go after what you need, this to the band, this to the beam. I hop in a ride with a crew full of demons that popping on stuff all regular. Eating my brother said that they do all the cleaning. These niggas regular. I go all out spectacular. See blood in the veins like Dracula. The money demand, I run it off. Versace the Gucci, I add it on. My groom in the Gucci, I'm manning off. This rubies for 2 weeks, she cut it off. The commas don't end like a waterfall. The rubies don't end when I'm on the roll. Look, mama, I might be a miracle. I'm outside the bitch, I'm inside the wrist. I can hit your beer, not a misogynist. She love massaging this, feel like Keanu Reeves. I'm way too tongue-in-cheek, don't know that what you mean. CrossFit and missing whiskey with a diva rose. Bad bitch, on that level like she carry Mars. I'm in heaven, what she letting, then she get on force. I'm about to go bounce, shoot up all the songs, see some more. Count those spaces and glisten my claws. Stare at the mess, that's a business of course. I think it's funny how people should come around when you're getting all the gorillas of gold. I'm in petty mode, you should've known. Told them in I don't talk at all. Push your button and go to war. Push your button and go to sport. All the niggas they go all in or nothing. Also they taking but they couldn't touch me. They try to shoot me but they couldn't hush me. They try to tell me but they couldn't budge me. I know you rev the cloud these days. Niggas stay bitch made these days. I'm outside the bitch, I'm inside the wrist. I can't hit your beer, not a misogynist. She love massaging this, feel like Keanu Reeves. I'm way too tongue-in-cheek, don't know that what you mean.
That was the BTS Creative Academy podcast, Uncut. If you'd like to find out more about the BTS Creative Academy, just search BTS Creative Academy. And so that you don't miss out on any future conversations, don't forget to like and subscribe.